The first storyteller this evening is Whitney Geden. Keep that going. Whitney Geden.
All right, I got talked into this. So my dad was a man of absolutely ferocious, if not aggressive, whimsicality. If there was a fun thing that he got it in his head that he wanted to do, it was gonna happen. And that included disregarding things like legality, or even common sense in some cases. So when I was about 10 years old, just as an example, he took my brother and I on a canoeing trip. I grew up in Florida. That also says something, I think. And he took us on this 3-day canoeing trip, and it was supposed to be great. And when we got there, they told us that the river was 8 feet above normal, that the currents were dangerous, and there were torrential rainstorms coming. So do you, sir, actually want to take your 2 children out on a 3-day camping trip before cell phones as well? So he said yes, and we went, and we capsized in the first hour of the trip, losing all of our water and food and tents and sleeping bags. And that was great for him. I mean, that was awesome. So that was sort of where he came from. 3 years ago in July, I got a phone call from my brother that my father had actually died very unexpectedly in his sleep. And that's a kind of grief that I had never before experienced, and it was hard, and it was weird, and it was disconnected, and his life was very strange at that point. He had married a woman from Thailand who had come over, and he had built up this whole new life around him that I actually knew very little about. So when I got down there for his funeral services, he actually had 2. There was one that was in what I can only describe as a strip mall, basically, again, Florida. And it was the strangest room. There was no organization. It was just random people that I barely knew telling stories that I wasn't familiar with about him. And the second service was at his wife's Buddhist temple, which was gorgeous and moving, but I don't speak Thai. So I didn't really connect with that experience as much as some of the other people there did. So that's when I decided I really needed to do something for my father that meant something to me and I thought would mean something to him. And there were 2 things in his life that he loved so much, and they were memories of mine from when I was a kid that I absolutely cherish. And those 2 things were rubber chickens and fireworks. So we decided, and luckily it's July, it was shortly after the 4th, so the stands were all still open trying to clear everything out. And my sister, my uncle and I, and my brother all decided that we were gonna launch his ashes in a rubber chicken over the ocean to memorialize him. Which is not as simple as it seemed in my mind, actually. Finding a rubber chicken in Florida in strip malls was not as easy as I had hoped it would be. I found something close enough at a pet store. And it squeaked, but it worked. And then we found the biggest rocket fireworks we could find. And also, in memory of my dad, we went completely overboard and got the biggest ones we could find. I mean, these things were easily like 3 feet tall with the big spikes that go into the ground that you light and launch. So we got 4 of those and some electrical tape and some extra wick. Now the next thing was finding out where are we going to launch this thing. The first suggestion was, well, let's do this behind the hotel. And I was like, no, we're definitely gonna get arrested and set something on fire if we do that. Someone else suggested, oh, there's this beautiful bay on the way to the airport. And I looked at the map and it was right next to the airport. And I didn't think it was a good idea to launch a chicken in this world that we live in now, shortly before I had to get on a flight. And so finally, I'm on the phone and I'm calling people in Florida that I haven't talked to in years, and I'm asking them, hey, I know we haven't talked in like 10 years, but where can I launch a chicken? And no one, finally someone just suggested a beach that was pretty isolated, and we got this thing constructed in the hotel room, and we got some extra wicks so that we could get away from it fast enough in case something went wrong, which if my dad had anything to do with it, it probably would. And I downloaded Ride of the Valkyrie on my phone. We were ready. So we get out there, and we're standing on the beach, and my brother lights the wick, and we all stand back. And I totally forgot about the phone, so the music wasn't playing. We're all just standing there, exhausted from days of crying and drama and just all of the things that tear you open when you're in a situation like that. But we were all standing there just exhausted, waiting for this chicken to launch. And as the wick started to get toward the rockets, I noticed that the construction is sort of listing to the right. And we all start backing away. And instead of this grand gesture of the chicken launching into the ocean, it sort of just fell on its side and spun around in a circle in the surf. This poor chicken just getting ripped apart by fireworks and sand and ocean. And my brother is now dancing around the spinning chicken. And as the mag light from the cops shone down on me, I realized in that moment that my father would have been proud of me. Thank you.